Hi guys, and welcome to another episode. Today we're going to spend some time looking at audiences. Media audiences is certainly an area which has changed, and in today's world we wouldn't consider an audience to simply be passive, an audience that sits. Audiences today will be, of course, those that comment, like, share and become part of the conversation, and we'd call this active audiences. Audiences today are those that produce, not just consume, those that actually make rather than just watch. Audiences is quite a large area to get into, so today I want to look at how audiences can be defined, and there's two ways of doing that. A media audience could be classified as this: a type or category of consumer. And that word consumer means somebody who simply uses the media. They also impact the success of the text. And by that I mean, of course, if they're liking it, sharing it, giving it positive feedback, that really in today's world impacts how other audiences respond to it. If a piece of media gets nothing but negative feedback, other audiences will be pushed away. It's one thing for a film critique to say, go and watch that film, when you've got millions of audiences saying, no, it's bad, on forums, on social media. So the power of the audience has really changed. The last part of that definition, as I'm putting here, is that audiences can be defined in different ways. And as I mentioned, there are two ways of doing that. So hopefully, that's what an audience could be classified to be, in my opinion. Firstly, you've got what's referred to as demographic. You'll hear this a lot, particularly in business studies and other types of subject, where audiences are categorized based on particular criteria. And they're going to include things like age, gender, ethnicity, religion. It's also going to include marital status, level of education, and what we call social class. You have A, B, C1, C2, D, and E. And all you need to know is that this refers to a hierarchy. A workers will be those with very high paid jobs, particularly in cities, and you have what's called skilled workers, and you have lower level workers as well. So all that refers to is how much money that person earns as a salary. So that social class is often very important to media companies. So we begin here. An audience could be categorized demographically. One quick tip to consider here is that, of course, this will change over time. A person who is 14 at their age is going to think very differently to when they become 45 or 60. They will still be of the same gender, the same geographic location, but their age will have changed. And maybe over time, other factors of that demographic criteria will have changed as well, particularly their social class. So often demographically, audiences can change, and companies have to think about that. The second way we can classify an audience is by its psychographic model. Now this is different than demographics, as we've just looked at. It's based now upon an audience theory designed by two individuals, Young and Rubicam. They had the idea that it would share 4 C's: cross, culture, consumer characteristics, hence the 4 C's, which basically means that it doesn't matter your age, your gender, your location, how much you earn, like the demographic model. They argued, Young and Rubicam, these are values which are shared around the world. Old models, demographic models, don't really apply. We should think about it in different ways. And they came up with 7 means of how an audience can be defined. They took those 4 C's and they looked at people around the globe. They surveyed lots of people, and they found that, again, these 7 themes came up in individuals. And the 7 are listed here. And a really good acronym for students to remember is the term MASTERS. As I'll put here, MASTERS. And it can be defined as the following: mainstreamers, aspirers, succeeders, the resigned, explorers, reformers, and strugglers. Guys, I'll put a PDF in the comments below which you can download, where you can have a look at those 7 types. And you might be thinking, actually reading this, I'd define myself as a mainstreamer. or I think I'm more of an aspirer. You also need to consider that that's what you are now. Young and Rubicam recognized when they came up with these 7 is that people are going to change over time. Some people, you included, might think, I'm not just one, I'm 3 of these. Or maybe when I become older, I'll take different values on. I'm not mainstream right now. I don't really think about family and needing a brand to be really good and reliable. I just want it to look good. But when I become someone who has children or has a different status, I become married or have a family or a partner, I then might become more of a mainstream in the way I think. And this is the beauty of this model, which you could argue is better than the demographic one. That Young and Rubicam were thinking about the characteristics of us as an individual. What's driving us? It's not just how old we are or where we live or how much money we earn, but it's how we think and how we're driven. I'd argue that you might want to think about using a psychographic model. Talk about the 4 C's when you're analysing a media text, when you're looking at a magazine, when you're looking at a newspaper, when you're looking at a music video. Who is it targeting based on, again, those characteristics? Is it going after people who want to try new things? Is it going after people who like to follow trusted brands? Have a think. Use both demographic and psychographic in the way you analyse audiences. Guys, I hope today has been useful at looking at audiences quickly. I'd like to look at this in more depth over time. Any comments you might have, please post below or drop me a message. Please turn on notifications and subscribe to future content. Take care and see you soon.